This podcast contains explicit content.
Good evening, cowards.
This podcast is hardly focused.
Oh my God. No.
Dissecting the news, one tangent at a time.
We all have ADHD and anything else would be boring as hell.
I think I farted again. I made people leave, offended my friends. Oh baby, I just gave it a push, but I didn't know it was that serious. I could knock down wild horses, but it smells so fragrant to me. Oh baby, baby, oops, I'm breaking some wind. I ripped a big fart, I feel so ashamed. Oh baby, baby, please don't think I'm a hog. I swear it's the dog. He's got that flatulence.
Brittany, before you go on stage, there's something I want you to have.
Oh, it's beautiful, but wait a minute, isn't this...
Yes, it is. Gas XN Beano. Went down to the pharmacy to get it for you.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
I had no choice, baby.
Oops, I farted again. My cheeks ripped apart. There's no one to blame. Oh baby, baby, there's a sulfurous gas escaping my ass. I've got that flatulence.
Chill.
Hey, we're Hardly Focused. Jack Gill, Mike Tarara. That was Oops, I Farted Again from the late Bob Rivers from his Twisted Tunes Vault Collection, Volume 6.
Volume 6?
There are a lot of them.
I didn't realize how many volumes does he have?
I don't know that off the top of my head. Twisted Tunes being his signature. He was very well known for his parody songs. Mr. Rivers passing away today. March 11th, the year 20 and 25, also happens to be 3/11 day, so I blame them.
I can blame them for a lot, so I'll include that.
Bob Rivers, a radio legend. He got his start right here locally on WAAF back in the mid-'80s. He was the host of the Bob and Zip show. Before Hillman, long before we worked there.
Long before, because Hillman was, 30 years?
Yep.
Before 30 years, you had Bob and Zip, so that's a while.
I'm 1 month older than Hillman's tenure hosting mornings on WAF, or just in general in Boston radio. But before him, well, technically Drew Lane came before him. Drew's the reason why Greg even is in mornings, and then Drew went to have a very successful career in Detroit. But before Drew, then it was Bob Rivers with Peter Zipfel. That's why they called him Zip.
Oh, yeah, because,
So Bob goes to Seattle. First he goes to Baltimore, and then he goes to Seattle following WAAF, and had a very, very successful radio career in Seattle. He was at...
That was, a top 20 market?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't think they're in the top 10. Definitely top 20.
Oh, no, yeah, okay.
But he was at KSW for many years. He then went to KZOK and then finished his career at KJR. And he moved. I know he was in Vegas at one point. I think he was bouncing between Vegas and Vermont, because when I met him, he had driven down from Vermont to Boston to be at WAAF the night the format flipped there.
Don't remind me.
And he had like he and his wife had like they made maple syrup Like they made their own maple syrup and had like a whole business with it. But poor guy didn't even realize he was ill. He posted about it on Facebook last week, and then he posted
that sucks.
He did a Facebook Live. I guess like it wasn't like a secret. I just didn't like. I just missed the memo. I guess that he has been sick for the last couple of years. It does a Facebook Live like quite literally 6 days ago, and he just looked ghoulish.
Oh, that sucks. Vibrant,
happy, in good spirits. He was making maple syrup with his wife, but I saw that video. I'm like, my word. I mean, you weren't you were a thin man to begin with, but god damn, you're sick. And then, so he's passed on, but has left a legacy of well done parody tracks. So check them out. They're all on YouTube. Bob Rivers, Twisted Tunes. And that's what made him famous, too. That's why he was, I mean, back in the, as a thing I've heard a lot, just the various like tributes that I've been reading about him, is that his, like, I guess his personality, he wasn't an egotistical dick.
Yeah, wow. That's good.
And then his parody songs, his creativity, that worked quite well for him.
All right.
And it will be up by the time this episode goes live, but KISW in Seattle, I'm sure you can find it online, doing a tribute to Bob Rivers, because he helmed their morning show, I think, for upwards of 20 years, if not 20 years on the dot. So check that out. It's KISW. That's Seattle's version of WAAF, like KISW.
Hopefully they don't switch over to K-Love.
I hope not. They're owned by the same company. They do well in the ratings. That's the thing with AAF. AAF wasn't like stellar in the ratings, especially in their final years. But KISW does quite well by comparison. And then just remember, for some reason, rock music just didn't do well in Boston. How many rock stations do we have now?
Oh, God. One classic rock station.
Yeah. We have one. 92.9 doesn't count what they're doing now, like being on AM and being on like a translator that has like a 5-mile listening radius.
No, it doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. But yeah, Boston is more sports.
Sports. Well, let's be honest. Seattle's not a sports town.
Well, they got the Kraken out there.
But they lost their Seattle Supersonics.
Sure. Yeah. Mariners, right? That's a thing.
Yeah.
So they got that.
Yeah.
But no, Boston is a sports town, so sports radio does really well in Boston. And country music too. Country music does especially well in Boston.
Ugh. Don't know why. Ugh.
Well, it's a good thing we don't work for that company anymore, Mike, because they laid off like 300 people last week.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, yep, there you go. Typical Audacity. Fuck you guys.
I'm never going to get the name right. It's like, I know they changed their name to Odyssey a while back. I'm always going to call it Audacity.
Yep, because they have the audacity to do that.
All right, there we go. That's that. I wanted to get that out of the way. Also, like I mentioned, it is the day we've recorded this episode. It is the 11th of March. It is 3/11 day.
Mm-hmm.
Chill.
Could you hear me clicking? That took 4 attempts to get that to fire.
I did not hear clicking.
Chill.
Okay. A sound drop is, how long is that? It's 0 seconds long. So if it's less than 1 second, it takes several. Like I have to spam the enter key to get the damn thing to play.
Chill.
So happy 3/11 day if you're a fan.
I think they forgot because they're so stoned right now.
And then with fingers crossed, the following episode of this podcast, episode 681, will feature an interview with Woke Karen. So look him up on YouTube or TikTok. Woke Karen. So that'll be fun. That'll be me and Zach. Mike, you're welcome to join if you're around.
I may be, I may not be. We'll find out.
And what do you think, Mike? What's looking good to you? We got in the news, we got Wendy Williams maybe getting her guardianship. I don't know if Terminator might be too extreme a word, but lessened. We've got the band Tool in their fan base. Very upset.
I feel like that's gonna garner some response on the internets if we talk about a bunch of tools.
It already has our threads at Hardly Focused, where we are incredibly active. The number of people that view and interact with our posts there, I only wish that same amount of people actually followed the show and listened to the show. I upset a lot of Tool fans on threads.
Oh,
I say a lot. It was right down the middle.
Is it because there's a lot of Tool fans that are pissed that they haven't had an album come out in like 10 years?
I think to be a fan of the band Tool, it's a prerequisite to just be angry.
I'm just mad.
There's
Go listen to Pussifer and shut up.
The other story that we have too, a reporter from InfoWars shot and killed.
Oh, we're definitely talking about that.
And the response to that. But Tool fans, I always picture Tool fans to be really there's a dude I went to high school with who I can't remember his name, but he was rocking a
Bill, Tim, Bob, Trevor, Mark. No, any of those?
Trevor sounds familiar, but I don't think it was Trevor. But this
been fun. That'd be nice if I got it on the nose right there.
Trevor would be an apropos name for him too. He was rocking the bowl haircut like through 2005.
Well, Kyle?
It wasn't a Kyle, no.
Okay.
I'd have to dig out the yearbook and see if I can find him. But this dude, like, always reeked of cigarettes. He was the kid that would always go into the bathroom between classes and smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even like, yeah, like cigarette smell isn't great to begin with, but when
when it's like enclosed, it's like
it was bad.
Hotboxing it. Ugh.
It was so bad. I imagine his hygiene wasn't the best either, but he always wore the same outfit every day. It was all black. He wasn't like a goth kid either, but he always wore this like ragged, dirty black pullover hoodie, either black jeans or black shorts, and like very worn black sneakers. And the pullover hoodie would always have a band logo on it, Tool being one of them. And that's how I became familiar with Tool, is because this kid sat behind me in one of my computer classes. So like I didn't know him well enough to remember his name, but like I talk to him every now and again, and that's how I learned about the band Tool. So I just envision Tool fans, all of them, to look like this kid, and then having been to Tool concerts. I don't think I've ever actually seen Tool live, but I've worked radio station events at Tool shows, and just seeing the clientele there. And
I've seen Tool live once in Manch.
How was that?
It was pretty good.
Okay. What year was it? Do you remember what year?
2010.
Okay. So Warren and I were at that show. It might have been that show. Was that because this was the one that I distinctly remember Maynard James Keenan driving himself up to Manchester from New Jersey. So the band went on late to begin with because they were literally waiting for Maynard to pull up. This was also the show that this homeless guy kept coming up to the van, and he was like a nice homeless guy, but he was drunk, and he just wouldn't leave us alone. And one of his one of the breaks that we had from him, Warren looks at me and says, okay, if he comes back and like asks names, like, let's give fake names. Okay. And I'm like 100% on board with you. I will not tell him my name. And my
name is Filbert, and mine is I can't think.
My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my lovely wife Oprah. The homeless guy comes back over, and sure enough, he finally asks our names. And Warren says, "I'm Trent." You know, Warren's a big Nine Inch Nails fan, so he says, "I'm Trent." And a homeless guy goes, "It's nice to meet you, Trent. What about you?" And I go, "Hi, I'm Warren." Oh, someone was not happy with me. But
chick.
Turns out that was the least of our troubles, because the Tool show gets out, and I remember these couple of guys approach the van, and they're not happy. And it's not that they're unhappy with us; they're just unhappy in general because they did not have a good time at that show. And they were even saying, like, "Dude, that crowd is pissed. Like, you're going to see a lot of angry people come out of here, like, in the next few minutes.
You might want to leave."
That's what they told us, and we saw them start to funnel out, and you could tell, like, it was like you remember, like, working Celtics games, for example, or Bruins games. If they lost,
you're like, "All right, we're gonna leave."
Yeah. If they lost, and especially if it was playoffs, if we ever made it that far,
yeah.
And you could just tell the vibe. And that is what this felt like when these people were leaving the Tool show. They weren't happy. So we left. And it taught me that Tool fans may just be impossible to please.
Pretty much. I mean, they had Lateralis, and then at that point, after that, they were just like, I'll never be happy again.
Was that before Fear Inoculum? Was that the album before that? Or is that 10,000 Days?
Because 10,000 Days.
Okay, 10,000 Days. I remember I was learning how to drive a stick shift. Driving around in a parking lot, an empty parking lot, while WBCN debuted 10,000 Days and played basically the whole thing start to finish. So that was my soundtrack. While my father sat in the passenger seat yelling at me because I was burning out the clutch.
How else do you expect to learn? You got to burn a little bit.
In a 93 Ford Escort.
How the hell do you burn out a clutch in a 93 Ford Escort? That's like the softest of clutches.
That car, I believe, was pulled out of a swamp. My father paid less than $1,000 for it. My father's a frugal man, you see.
Well, frugal is a very judicious word to use.
Last time I see him, he pulls up in a Chevy Bolt, and I'm like,
I'm going to say Chevy Nova.
Well, no, I mean, you saw that car that was sitting in the garage for so long.
Oh yeah.
Well, he finally got his electric vehicle, but it was one that was made in this decade. And I told
this century.
I was convinced it was a rental. I was convinced it wasn't his car. Because it was too new. It was too modern. And again, it was an electric vehicle in working condition. Rebecca's here. Are you a fan, Becky, of Tool, the band Tool?
I was for a time. Doesn't feel fair to say that I still am.
When did the drop off happen?
I forget that I liked bands. I listen to the same two bands, and then I forget there's other music. So I should probably go get back into it. But I love 10,000 Days.
Yeah, that was a good album. That's the thing about Tool. Like, the music, like, musically, they're all very talented. They're all very skilled.
I saw them at the Garden. You said you were talking about Manchester?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw them at Boston.
Okay.
And I saw Perfect Circle.
Ooh, Mike, did you ever see A Perfect Circle?
I've not seen A Perfect Circle.
What about Pussifer?
I did not.
I've not seen Pussifer either.
No, there wasn't. I can't remember if they did a opening with one band. That might have happened.
Yeah, because that's what they're doing now. It's called the Santa Tour, and it's Tool, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle.
They might have done some combination, either at the Tool show or Perfect Circle.
Mm-hmm. Pussifer, they played at Berkeley in, I'm going to say 2009, and sitting out front in the WAAF van, and I think Trish was with me for that one. I think it was just me and Trish for that show.
I just ordered the tavern burger.
Had to pull that one out of the archive, but we look outside, and right in front of Berkeley, he's a line getting into Berkeley, and their performance center not very big in Berkeley, the College of Music. So for a band like Pussifer to be playing there, I mean, I think Pussifer just started, but it was a big deal for them to be there. And we notice the line that is out there. There's Calamity, because we see what looks like a transient. He's wearing a hard hat and fireman's robes, like a fireman's jacket. And he's got a megaphone, and he's holding like Bible Bob, our friend Bible Bob.
Yeah.
That you see outside every Boston venue with his repent sign, his sandwich board. Well, this guy, it's not Bible Bob, it's someone else, but he's wearing something very similar. And he has his megaphone, and I'm going to pull mine. No? Okay, we're not going to do the megaphone? All right.
The dog will go nuts.
Okay, yes, he will.
Please don't.
The one time I regale a story that involves a megaphone, and I can't use the megaphone. Anyway, he's on a megaphone, and he's yelling something like, if you're going to the Pussifer show, you are going to hell. You are all sinners. You will repent for your sins by not going to the Pussifer show. And people are a little weirded out at first, but then they realize who this transient is. And it's Maynard. Maynard's just standing out in the open with like a roadie. And the guy's just like, really doing security for him, but helping him while Maynard's yelling at everybody that they are sinners and they will burn for their sins by going to the Pussifer show. And then he asks if anyone in line is not seeing Pussifer. He says, who here is not going to the Pussifer show? And I'm standing out there watching this whole thing unfold. And then I just go, I'm not going. And Maynard grabs me. He grabs me and pulls me in and announces to the crowd that this boy will be saved. He is not a sinner, unlike you all. And people are looking at me, and I find out later on, they're giving me all the, they look astonished. And I find out later on that Maynard is a very private individual.
Mm-hmm.
He is not one to shake hands, make any sort of physical contact.
Nope.
And the fact that he just grabbed me and held on to me as part of his performance art and didn't let me go. And then a cop showed up, and then we all thought this was part of the bit that a cop showed up, and the cop was like, he took his cuffs out. He was ready to arrest him. And then the crowd's like, no. That's Maynard James Keenan.
Part of the show.
Yeah.
It's an act.
Doesn't he make wine?
He does.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Merkin Vineyards.
It's a good wine, Mike. Have you had it?
No, I just have a signed bottle that I'm not going to open. It's probably going to turn to vinegar before I open it up.
Well, wine, how long? Obviously, people like to age their wine. I mean,
certain wines need to age. Certain wines don't need to age. That wine probably does not need to age.
Okay.
I would say my sister would probably say that wine from Northern Arizona is probably not that great.
Oh, your sister's
she works with all the vineyards in Oregon and Washington.
Well, that's her thing, right? That's your sister with the degree in that, right?
Oh yeah,
you have a PhD in that?
Oh yeah, she's a dirt doctor.
Those are real, Rebecca. Dirt doctors are real.
Yep.
Those aren't just the thing that we rent from the supermarket.
That would be a rug doctor.
Thank you, Mike. You're right, a rug doctor.
Slight difference.
Just a bit. Well, if it does turn to vinegar, we should do a taste test.
It'll be really good vinegar.
No, we should do a taste test on air.
Oh, okay.
But here's the thing. We'll tag Tool. We'll tag Maynard James Keenan. We'll put it on YouTube. It'll get tens of views.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be a success for us, as it typically is.
Huzzah.
Okay, the story. This coming from Consequence. Tool played in Punta Cana over this past weekend. A festival they call Tool in the Sand.
Punta Cana. Love the anglicized version of that one.
Punta Cana. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put the pinky out. Punta Cana. It was this past weekend, March 7th through the 9th, on the bill alongside Tool. Primus, who suck, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Primus, I use Winamp for our soundboard, and I believe it was Winamp that made it famous that there was no genre applicable to Primus. So when you go through Winamp's genres, Primus comes up as its own genre. Also on the bill, Mastodon, Coheed and Cambria, and Eagles of Death Metal. Primus debuted with their new drummer, John Hoffman. He played alongside their fill-in, Danny Carey, who is Tool's drummer. And Hoffman, he's from New Orleans. He is famous in New Orleans as a local musician, a almost complete unknown outside of that city. And he won an audition. This was very unusual. A band holding like a quote unquote public audition to find a new member of the band that wasn't rigged.
Yeah.
Where there was no label interference, because that's what happens. They say, oh, we're going to do this audition. Anyone can audition. And sure, they get thousands of submissions from very talented people, but they already have someone in mind. Or their label says, here's a list of 5 drummers that are that work with us. And pick one.
Do they work with us?
Like Dream Theater, when Portnoy left and Mike Mangini replaced him. Like, you knew that there was no audition process for that. Like, maybe like he auditioned just to see, like, to rehearse with the band. But
how can I handle a rehearsal? Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Mangini blowing out, some Joe Schmo who is of the same technical proficiency. Stone Temple Pilots, I talk about it all the time. The runner up to replace Scott and Chester was a dude from the Philippines, but no, they went with the guy who's on season whatever of The Voice.
Yay.
He's a good singer. I'm not knocking a guy, but like you could have done the Arnel Pineda and picked him. His journey did. But anyway, so Primus introducing their new drummer, and then Mastodon, it was their first set that they performed without longtime guitarist and vocalist Brent Hines, who just left the band. But Tool previously announced that they would headline their own festival, although it would be really funny if they didn't. They'd play over 2 nights. They'd play 2 unique sets.
Well, I mean, that's a requirement right there. If you're going to host, headline both nights, you can't just be like, all right, guys, we're the same set. No. There's people buying tickets for both shows. They want to see 2 unique shows.
So the only time I've ever taken in something like this, it was no surprise Taking Back Sunday in 2019.
Weren't you a drummer in the band of Taking Back Sunday?
I was a drummer. I was a touring guitarist. I would put all that duct tape on Adam Lazar's microphone so it didn't become unhooked from the cable whenever he'd swing it around, because that could become a weapon, don't you know?
You'd hold the ice pack.
I'd hold the ice pack, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's you can find it when Mark Hoppus had his TV show on Fuse. He interviewed Taking Back Sunday, and you see Adam, he's got a black eye in the interview. It's because the motherfucker hit himself in the face with his microphone, swinging it around.
That's what he's saying.
Well, the old saying, Rebecca, mics are for singing, not swinging.
So I've heard.
So I saw them in 2019. They were doing a 20th anniversary tour, and it was like a flip the coin. Night 1 will play this album. Night 2 will play the other album. So 2 unique sets. However, both nights they would play their first album in full. So if you're a diehard fan, you would have to sit through their first album every night you see them. Yes. And both nights. The second night I tried to time it so I would miss it. I failed. I showed up early.
You walk in after the second song.
Yeah, the second song that the first opener was playing.
Oh, wow.
I just sit through. I mean, I love that album, but like, and not that's 4 times I've seen them play it through all the way. It gets a little boring after the 3rd time. So Tool, though, I mean, Tool, like, is there any song in Tool's discography that's less than 5 minutes long?
I feel like there is.
The one on the radio.
That's got to be a radio.
The radio songs are like 4. Yeah, it's like 4 minutes. I don't think it's anything less than 4.
Okay. I know Fear Inoculum had some like bonkers long tracks. Like it's only got like 7 or there are not many songs on Fear Inoculum, but they're almost all of them are very long too.
The sober one.
There's a great performance. You can find it's Tool from like 93 with their original bassist playing sober. And they hadn't like, not that they really have like, you know, like identities now or like, you know, they don't like do anything like really big for like when they're on stage. It's 93. They all look like just your typical grunge musicians.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for Maynard, who was doing the performance art thing, wearing like a shirt and boots and nothing else. Probably not even underwear.
Yes, I've seen that kind of look. Yep.
Like a deranged mental patient. He looked like the Coney 2012 guy after he had his public meltdown, running through lanes of traffic naked, if you remember that. So Tool advertises for Tool in the Sand 2 nights, 2 unique sets. So during the first night, everything goes off without a hitch. The second night, they play 4 songs that they played the previous night. Those 4 songs being the title track from Fear Inoculum. They played Jambi, Numa, and Rosetta Stone. And then the rest of the set, all songs you didn't hear the night before. So, like a set and a half. Not 2 unique sets. A unique set followed by half of a unique set. No explanation as to why they put in 4 songs.
Maynard doesn't give explanations. Ugh.
Maybe he just forgot.
Maybe he just really likes those songs. Like, I want to play this one again.
Someone just put the wrong set list out.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
We taped over the set list from the first night, but it wasn't taped properly. So like the first 4 songs were showing on top. Yeah, we didn't fold it right.
We put the wrong CD in.
Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it. Girl, you know it.
They had to fake it the entire time till someone swapped the CD.
Yeah, Danny Carey can't actually play drums. He's like Animal. He's just waving his arms around.
Dosey doing off the stage like Ashley Simpson.
Hoedown.
He faked it better than she did.
Oh yeah. She failed so hard by doing that.
I don't know. We were too hard on her.
And that was Mike, but off air we were talking about the SNL docu-series leading up to SNL 50, and I think they do talk about the Ashley Simpson snafu. Yep. And all they had to do was just stop and reset and just play it off. And instead, she panicked and did a hoedown and left the stage.
Yep.
And it made for a very awkward scenario. And I remember watching that live and just being so confused.
What is going on?
And then Jude Law trying to write it off with, what can I say? Live TV.
At least he didn't do a Jamaican accent.
Put the dreads on. Can you imagine Jude Law doing that?
She should have faked feigning.
Just like
had a
pratfall.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase style.
Eyes roll back. Just totally go medical injury.
Foam starts coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, something like that.
She goes into convulsions.
Then we would feel bad for her.
And then her band is on stage just playing anyway.
No, then they jump in to save her.
No, that's
CPR commences.
No, just let it play around. Oh, we thought it was a bit.
It's like the Boondocks when Gangstalicious gets shot.
I told you I got shot.
I got shot. It was 45 minutes before the ambulance came. So plain. So Tool, the second night, they don't play a fully unique set. Half the set is what they played the night before, and people not happy about it. Oh, Tool fans, we're talking about how to be a Tool fan, it must be a prerequisite that you're just angry.
How much for tickets?
People were saying they spent upwards of $3,000.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Well,
That might be more of the issue then.
Well, now I'm going to guess an all-inclusive price, not just for 2 or 3 nights of the festival, but then the fact you have to go to Mexico, the lodging, the travel, yeah, it's not going to be cheap to get there. I don't know. I am still very fortunate that we have live music, and it's something that I feel like I'm going to be saying quite regularly for the rest of my days. I mean, I can't believe it's been almost exactly, oh my God, it's going to be like 5, when this episode drops, it's going to be 5 years to the day.
Yes, it is.
That lockdowns happened, that COVID, I know it was, I think yesterday, the 10th, CNN shared the very first time they referred to COVID as a pandemic, announcing we're going to be referring to officially calling it a pandemic from this point forward. Like, it does not feel like it's been 5 years, but it's been 5 years since live music was taken away from us for a time. And I'm like, in hindsight, okay, like it was gone ultimately for a year, which doesn't seem like that long, but for a long, I mean, even during that whole period, you think like, this is never going to come back. I mean, you know how you want to know desperate.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, it's only going to go for a couple weeks, then a couple months, and and you're like, oh God, it's going to be forever now.
Yeah, it'll be gone by Easter. Remember that? It'll be gone by Easter. You don't have to worry about it.
If people weren't idiots, maybe it would have. I don't care. I'm going to be doing a spring break. Yeah.
Oh God, the spring break
They're
kids.
going to
You remember
Punta
that?
Cana. Let the kids be kids.
It sucks. And I'm from New Orleans, so this really sucks.
Oh, so that chick, she probably knows John Hoffman. She's probably seen him play on Bourbon Street.
If I get Corona, I get Corona.
And then this gem.
So we're just hanging out with them and trying to get drunk before everything closes.
Yeah, that voice right there.
I feel bad for them. I mean, you don't, if that had to live on in the history books and I had to listen to myself at like age 18, just saying something like that, not really grasping the gravity of the situation.
You know what they all did? They all went to that Sturgis rally whenever because remember that was under fire because they just business as usual.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There's, you don't tell bikers what to do, especially in Sturgis,
right?
Middle of nowhere.
Laconia, New Hampshire. That's also, they do. Is it Laconia or Loudon where they do the bike?
Laconia. Loudon's where they do the racing.
Okay. Would you say is angrier, Sturgis or Laconia?
I feel like Sturgis, because at least with Laconia, like there's people that are like East Coasties, and you're somewhat close to civilization.
It's nice there, yeah.
Like Sturgis is like middle of nowhere, basically. You've got like South Dakota, North Dakota, nothing.
And out there, you probably have to pay sales tax. You don't have to do that up in Laconia.
Now you do.
So the show, if I may go on a quick side tangent.
Because we never do this.
Never has happened once before on a show called Hardly Focused.
You should stay focused.
You know what, Rebecca, with your logical thinking.
I know. I'm very linear.
The show The Pit, which Mike, HBO Max.
Okay.
Fantastic show.
The Pit, like Fallout's The Pit?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Because it is set in Pittsburgh, and it is set in an emergency room in a hospital, which they typically call The Pit.
Okay.
You know what it was supposed to be? It was supposed to be ER. It was supposed to be a new season of ER. And
they just wanted to swear, so let's put it on HBO.
Well, the estate of Michael Crichton.
Wanted to show one butt cheek.
Crichton's estate wouldn't let them do anything related to ER because that was Crichton's show. So they changed the name of the show, the name of the characters, I don't know if like the premise was changed at all, but Noah Wiley is the star of the show. And it's basically ER. It's all like the same producers and directors and writers. It is through and through ER. It is all set over the course of a single 8-hour shift in the emergency room. Fantastic show.
Oh, okay. Like, all right, I like that idea.
Yeah, it's
like one person gets sick at each time. You're like, no, I'm giving you an entire season of one shift.
I know
minute by minute.
I know you've been telling me to watch Andor and that one. There's something else on Apple TV. I think you were waiting. Silo. Yes. Were you waiting for Severance too to come back?
Yes, but we wanted to finish watching Shrinking before we got into Severance.
Okay.
So we're finishing up season 2 on that one.
Mike only watches shows that start with S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Fallout.
And Fallout. Fallout.
No, Fallout.
Fallout.
It's French.
I gotta send you something, Mike.
Swallow.
I gotta send you something when we wrap up here. It is unless you don't want to see it, it's set photos from season 2.
I am not going to say no to that.
Okay, you'll like them, I promise. So I know you've been telling me to watch all these shows, but The Pit, like it's not all released at once. It's a weekly release, and it's gonna be like 16 episodes too, which is
oh wow, I'll take that over it's a 6-episode season.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So I'm impatient. This is taking me back to like 2004 with ER. Impatient, waiting every week for a new episode of this show.
You are an impatient bastard, so.
Get it? Because it is a show about an emergency room, and when you are in the hospital, you are called a patient, and I am impatient.
That is a joke. I get it. It is not funny.
Is that Bortus from Orville?
That is Worf from Deep Space Nine. Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Bob Rivers, by the way, was on Star Trek, a couple episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I bring The Pit up because we're talking about COVID, and there's a great scene where a woman in the waiting room punches out another woman over the use of face masks. Because COVID has, COVID is the after effects of the pandemic is a sort of lingering theme on the show. So this woman's very upset about someone else wearing a face mask and, standing up for her rights, yada, yada, et cetera, and finds out that in punching out the woman, she injured her hand and needs surgery. And the senior resident tells her,
hey, speaking of Maynard James Keenan, tools.
There we go. So the senior resident tells this woman, by the way, surgeons, to maintain a sterile environment in the operating room, have to wear face masks. Do you want me to go ahead and tell them to ditch the face masks to increase your risk of bacteria getting into your wound during the procedure, et cetera, et cetera? And the woman's just
you know what? I did see that. It was like a Facebook reel. It was like a 30-second reel of that right there, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, the woman's like,
fine. Like, yeah, exactly. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
They can wear the masks.
Yep. They can wear them. Masks prevent me from breathing. I did an 8-hour surgery with a mask on. Shut up.
Yeah. So anyway, I bring all this up to bring it back. Shockingly, I can remember where I was going with this.
That's the first.
I am so fortunate that we have live music that I will take whatever. Like if you say like, hey, we're going to do 2 unique sets and I get half of a unique set that second night, bro, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy I got to see this band play. I'm happy I got to see these songs.
I'm just happy to be nominated.
I'm happy that I got to travel to, let's say, an exotic location, one of those places where they tell you, do not venture outside of this perimeter, else you will die. I would just be happy with what I got, but that's why I am laughing, and this is why I got in trouble on Threads, because people didn't like the fact that I was just openly laughing at these angry Tool fans for being so upset over getting half a repeat set from the previous night. Someone on Facebook saying, quote, they, the band Tool, quit 30 minutes early tonight. If you hated Tool fans, this is what you would do. It's perplexing that they are this disconnected from reality. I think it's more than fucked up. I think it's a breach of contract and they owe us a refund for tonight. Unacceptable.
I don't know about a refund.
It is a little bit extreme. That's when I started laughing. When that came out.
Extreme? Wholehearted?
Did more happen than just them repeating the songs? I mean, I'm taking them at their word. They ended early as well, but
the complaint was that the second night the set length was shorter. And
how much shorter?
So, all right, let's look at. I have both.
Like, are we talking
lists.
like the first set was like 2.5 hours, 3 hours? Like, how much shorter was the second set from the first? You did a half an hour, and it's an hour-long set the first night. You know, like, okay, well, half-hour set the second night sucks. But if like it's a 2.5 hour set the first night, 2 hour set the second night, I can't be too mad at a 2 hour set.
This is where my lack of knowledge, intricate knowledge with Tool really comes out, because night one, it looks like they played 10 songs, and night two, they played 9 songs. So like we're out of the 4.
Sped them up.
Yeah. So like
it was on 2 times.
It's like a thrash version.
Who are you to be a finger other than
That is one of his songs where he just yells a lot of words really fast anyways.
Sure. I don't think Danny Carey is capable of playing that fast. Or
their track sped up their CD.
You set it to 45 and it should have been on 33.
I saw a video of Danny Carey playing at like I think it was for his kid. It was like a high school like pep rally or football game or something. He was behind the drums and he's playing like Louie Louie, you know, the standard fare that the school marching band will play. And the two things that people were pointing out, one, he was playing like a 5-piece kit, which is way too small for Danny Carey. And two, they're like, you can tell he's struggling because it's in 4/4 time.
I normally march in 7/8.
It's a straightforward rock beat. He also filled in one week on Late Night with Seth Meyers with the AG band, and was just, you know, playing like, you know, the standard, like the theme song and the standard covers they do. And again, it was the same deal. It was the same thing. He's got just a 4-piece, 5-piece kit, and you can tell he's like, dude, can I please get polyrhythmic? Can you guys please play math rock?
And the producers behind him like, no.
Can you members of Boys Like Girls and Le Savi Fav please play Outside Your Comfort Zone for me? So yeah, 9 songs on night 2. I don't know if like any of these are like.
Can you check setlist.com? Doesn't it usually? Yeah,
that's
say when they go on and off.
So start time 9:05 for night 2, 9:15 for night 1.
Okay, so it felt earlier anyway, so it had 10-minute difference right there.
Mm-hmm. There were supposed to be 12 songs night 1, and they did not play them, so they carried them over into night 2. And one of them
was supposed to play 7 songs night 2.
Something's off with this.
And one of those songs, it was a Chocolate Chip Trip from Fear Inoculum. I think that's from Fear Inoculum. It says extended version.
Ooh.
So, which means that song was even longer than it typically is. So I don't know if
that could be good or bad. If they're just dragging on,
was this like a
song and not playing others? That would
40-minute riff.
Okay, so I'm looking at the track list for Fear Inoculum. The title track and Pneuma, both songs exceed 10 minutes in length. Okay. Chocolate Chip Trip is 4 minutes and 47 seconds long. So they played a quote unquote extended version of it. So that therefore makes it longer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm just going to pull up Do you know, Mike, off the top of your head, is Anima a quick song or not?
No, that's at least that's a 4.5 minute song at least.
Okay, 6 minutes and 39 seconds. Okay,
yeah.
As I was pulling that up. Okay.
Sober was 5 minutes, by the way, so I stink. There is no 3-minute song.
Okay. Let's see. Let's
a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
Yeah. So I don't know why they're saying at the end of that, I like not having like the exact time stamps and everything in front of me. Like I'd be curious to know how like long the set was for them to say that they stopped playing 30 minutes early.
The vibe must have just been off, and that is a concrete data they could throw at them.
The vibe.
It must have just been a bad vibe. They want their money back. So you got to start doing math. It's kind of like your bill, Jack, your heating bill, where I'm like,
the vibe was just off.
The vibe was off. We had to figure out how to claw $1 back, and we had to find something wrong with what they've done.
And did it work out for you? Yes, it did.
Oh yeah, they were wrong, but
is it going to work out for these Tool fans? No, it's not.
And I'm going to put that experience towards getting the pavers fixed on my back patio.
It's Alice in Wonderland back there. You fall in, you're not seeing me again.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. There's a hole.
Yeah.
Like my neighbors overheard me telling the dogs as I was taking them back.
A red balloon like floating up.
As I was taking them inside, the neighbors heard me tell the dogs,
here.
"Watch out for the hole. Don't step in the hole." You know what it is, Mike, is all the stuff that's underneath the pavers, like the gravel and the concrete and all that, it is eroded.
That's because it wasn't put there properly.
So it was, that's going away. Guess who didn't pay for that? Not me, not this guy. Someone that used to live here fronted the cost of that.
And she got her money back. You paid for it twice.
And then she asked for more money.
You had to buy her out of that.
All right, I've gone too far on that one.
Yeah, poor Kate. She gets a shout out. She got 3 shout outs last episode. We gotta leave her alone.
Yeah. I still love Kate. I do.
Are you okay, babe?
Aww.
I'm okay. I'm fine. I just.
You want to talk about it?
I feel like I'm more.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
It's just the farther removed I am from my marriage with her. I just feel like every time I bring her up now, it's more negative than positive. Like, sure, I was dunking on her all the time before we got divorced, but now it just seems more like.
Well, you're just being funny.
Yeah, it seems more like I have a place to hurt now.
No.
I hurt myself today.
I was thinking about this. How would I feel if I paid money, a lot of money, to go away for a 2-night stay, and I was expecting a unique set list each day? Okay. Number one, if you're getting me to Punta Cana on like a getaway weekend to see a band, I have to be happy with whatever I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
I just, if I'm going to do that, I must be a really big fan and would just be
really
happy to
fan,
be there.
Really big fan.
But
There's a big
Taylor
but.
Swift, you know how she does her secret songs, and you get a couple unique songs each show. If she repeated what she did when we saw her on Sunday versus Friday, Taylor, we would have had words. And I would yell and I would kick, scream, cry. However, I wouldn't do it online publicly. That's mortifying. I would just silently and probably get on this mic, curse her, curse this guy, and be so mad.
You're talking about the secret song specifically? Because the set was largely the same. I mean, like for her.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't even I was only expecting 2 unique songs.
Yeah.
I was willingly, I see her do the same thing. I would have been disappointed. I wouldn't have expressed it though.
Yeah. I mean, she's got a very unique, like, it's the stage setup. Every song has to go with what's on stage and what's choreographed and everything. So you can't really deviate too far.
No, but if she had billed it as such, I was just trying to, like, I wouldn't be disappointed seeing Brand New do the same show over and over and over and over and over. I would eat my slop. I would be so happy. Like, I would just be so happy.
Yeah.
Same with Taylor. But if any other band that's on the fringe of, I really like them, but they're not the one, I'd probably go home and be like, oh, that was a little bummer.
like,
Unless I loved the song they repeated.
It can make me feel like this.
So like that's a gripe like I have about Blink-182 is
when I teach masturbation, I'm always just like, have fun with it.
Whenever I see a set list from any show that they play, like I get disappointed because like all their hits are on it, but there's like no variety to it. It's always the same thing over and over.
I want to hear the same hit over and over.
Na 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 na.
Play the whole thing now, Mike.
Where are you?
Thank you, Becky.
I got you.
Good, because if you didn't play that, I was going to keep on interrupting you with na na nas.
Like I was getting yes, I'm just every time I see Blink, like I've seen them several times, and I'm just whenever they're on stage, I don't care. I know what I'm gonna get. I'm still happy I'm there. I imagine if that's like the people that travel around.
But that's the vibe.
That's the vibe.
The vibe.
This is vibes, Jack.
Vibes.
Maybe he sensed the vibe and said these 5 songs fit the vibe, so I'm gonna vibe.
Can you imagine if Taylor came out for her secret song, grabbed the mic, and just went, "Who are you to raise your?"
Oh my God, that would be iconic. I would be shocked. No, I wouldn't. She knows everything.
No, and they play the entire song note for note.
Hi.
Yeah.
She just strums that like one string.
She could probably do it.
She can do everything.
I mean, that timing is just fucking weird.
Yeah.
To try to like if you're used to pop songs doing like 4/4/4/4, and you got to go to like is it 7/8 or is it like
7/8 seems a little too gratuitous.
Is it like 5/8? It's something weird, right? Is it like 7/12? It's some sort of random fraction you find on a crescent wrench.
It's like, I mean, it could be more complex than that. It could be
13.
Like, it'd be like 12/4, 12/7.
Yeah, you're like, it's like 6/8, but it's also 5/8 for the bass, and then it's 7/8 for the drums. And you're like, what?
Blink-182 has a song called 6/8 because that's the time signature it's in, and it's so bizarre for them. They're like, we're just gonna call the song 6/8 because it's just out of our element. And
you're gonna know because it's gonna sound fucking weird.
Yep, it does sound weird. It's one of my favorite songs of theirs because it is not formulaic.
For Blink-182 though, I know you would love a deep cut because you love their whole discography, but
I celebrate their entire catalog.
Right, which I guess it has to be frustrating to
when you make music that never gets played.
Yeah, well, or you can never go see like where is your shot. I guess that could be a moment if the only time you're really going to see maybe some of these deep cuts with the type of shows that they're doing is if they do a specific album and they're going to play it through. Right. And if you paid money to go see that album and then they didn't play that album, maybe you'd want your money back. And I don't think you would say that publicly though.
Well, that's what fascinates me about like deep cuts on albums is it gets so, but like maybe your first album, you're passionate about all those songs you wrote. And then as the albums go on and you have this contractual obligation and you need to have, say 12 songs on an album and you have 8 that you like, but now you got to pull 4 more out of your ass. Like you record them and say like, I'm never going to play this live. Or you limit how many times you play it. I feel like that has to be a challenge with musicians and bands, especially as the discography grows. I mean, if you're a band, I'm gonna use the Stone Roses as an example, just because I just know off the top of my head 2 albums. Like, what are you gonna do? You got literally what 20 songs you can pick from? Yeah.
Just a cover band.
Sure. Yeah, I was just happy to be there. Like I said, it sounds like you're sort of on that same page, Becky. You're happy to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think with a concert, I assume an artistic choice could be made at any moment, and you think it's a risk every time. Mm-hmm. It's a risk typically I'm willing to take.
Mike, what do you think? Or would you be happy with what you got, or would you be more upset that you're not getting what you were told?
In terms of song choices, I'd be less upset if I knew the amount of time that I got. Like, obviously, the only concert I'm going to this year right now is Nine Inch Nails. We know that so far.
You're welcome.
If he puts in a 65-minute show, I don't care if he has the set list that I write for him. I won't be happy. I need at least 90 minutes. I'd love 2 hours. And I don't care what he plays. If he gives me a 2-hour set, I don't give a shit what he plays. I'll be happy. I think that's the time right there. That's the difference.
So talking about the length of the set takes me back to when you and I saw Luke 2 years ago at
I wanted my money back.
Stadium, Luke Combs, because he played. Now, granted, there was literally a tornado warning in the area.
Well, there's extenuating the circumstances a little bit right there. Come on.
Sure, we got evacuated twice, but evacuated, like we were told to go into the concourse and then we could go back to our seats. He played the minimum number of songs he is contractually bound to before.
So he wouldn't have to come back.
Or issue refunds.
Oh, yeah.
And people were pissed
that was
about
strategic. That was strategic. That would, yes.
Yeah.
That would, I'd be like, if I was a non-shitty artist and it was like, look, it's interrupting the flow, like you've got 220, like, all right, you know what, guys, keep the tickets. I'll be back, at the end of the tour,
He's done that a lot too. And that's why people they got loud because it was unusual for him not to do that.
Do you think it was his choice?
No,
or you think
I
it was
don't.
like
I think he
management's choice. Like,
no,
you go
I
out
don't
and play
think
one more song.
Oh, I think he would have done whatever. I think he would have come back. I mean, he did play a second show. He was already there the next day.
I mean, maybe that's why they were like, fuck it, we're just going to, if he's back the next day.
I mean, it was horrible conditions and they kept sending us back out, pulling us back in, he'd quickly play the song before we could even file back out. It was a terrible concert experience. This is no shade to, like, he doesn't control the weather. I know management's telling him. And he's the type of guy, just given his history, that he would just play a free show. I was mad at the venue for the handling of it.
Hey, who wants the venue?
Yeah, I know. Don't love that. But
there's your answer.
Now, when we go to outdoor shows, weather is something that I'll look at. And if the weather is dicey, and if it's somebody I really want to see, and I know that it could be, they could cut it a little bit short, I might actually try to sell my ticket and go to a different show. I mean, it doesn't always work out, but usually they're playing somewhere within a 3-hour drive on the days before or after. Stevie Nicks was one that I got cut short. I'm glad I got to see her again. The reality was she couldn't talk a lot during the rush, so she had to sing for me. So it ended up working out.
I couldn't tell any of my stories. I couldn't talk to you.
She still shoved them in.
Spend more time talking at you than I do play music.
And they in Mansfield for that show, they weren't calling it, but I was looking at the sky and I'm like, we're gonna die, and it's you have to run through an open field and lightning's coming. There's nowhere to go. So I looked at my sister. I'm like, we got to get out of here. They're going to call it. They haven't done it yet. So even having to cut that off, it sucks. So
did they call it?
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
It was a complete show, but it ended early.
Okay.
They just, she went on early too. They
encore.
cut the opener. Vanessa Carlton had to go.
Oh, with her one song.
Yeah, I didn't even get to see it. I want my money back.
I
want my money, bitch. Where's my money?
I went to that venue, the Xfinity Center,
and you'll do it again, and you'll love it.
Becky really wants retribution because I had such an awful time when I was at the Cure last or 2 years ago. And yeah, I agree. Maybe I'll give him another chance if a certain reunited band happens to play there this summer.
Well, and Jimmy Eat World.
Jimmy Eat World is definitely playing there. They're playing with the Offspring, Mike.
Oh, okay.
And so I'd be down for that.
I understand. I'm not saying it's the best venue. It's not.
It's just not designed. It wasn't designed well. It can't handle today's infrastructure.
But I've never had that specific problem. I mean, sure, so where I live in Rainham, if you're exiting on that side, there's just a lot less people. And so where I come and go just from one side of the street
makes it easier.
Is a lot different of an experience. So I told Jack, I was like, next time overshoot the exit, go down a couple exits, then shoot back up. And I'm like, that's the trick. And I think I told you for the Cure to do that too. And you just didn't. I was like, oh.
So the other thing with the Cure too is I was on the fence about going, and my gut was saying, look, just if you're not feeling it, don't go.
It was the worst time for you you broke your phone the day that only you can get in with a phone.
Yeah. I was still able to get in thanks to my Apple Watch because I'm very technological, you see. But it was one of those things where I should have just listened to my gut. But by the time I finally decided to go, it was like this venue is just so poorly designed that you have to show up like hours before the show actually starts. Like you got to get there right when the gates open, or else you're going to just get stuck in a line of perpetual traffic.
I rolled into Taking Back Sunday right as they went on, and I rolled right out as they exited. And I had a lovely experience by myself. And I'm like, you can do it.
You can do it.
Nikki.
I just did not, I did not have that degree of luck, but I saw it was Panic at the Disco with Weezer and Andrew McMahon there. It was the day after, I remember exactly when it was. It was the day after California by Blink-182 came out. And there was a lightning storm that rolled through. And I just remember, like, literally lightning was like bolt lightning was striking all around us, and no one gave a fuck.
Yeah, that was Stevie Nicks.
It actually made the show. It was cool. It was a good time.
Same with Stevie Nicks.
Made it a little more exciting.
Thunder only happens when it's raining. Lively. I was like, don't you know it, girl?
Becky, you'll like this. I found this on YouTube because, of course, it exists. Watch, you're going to get copyright stricken because of this.
Oh, we won't make 2 cents. Use your bullhorn.
Seen each other in a month when you said you needed space. What? Then you come around again and say, baby, I miss you and I swear I'm gonna change. Trust me, remember how that lasted for a day? I say I hate you, we break up, you call me, I love you. We called it off again last night. This time, I'm telling you, we are never getting back together.
Not great, not terrible.
She's a genius. She's a genius. That was amazing. I was not expecting that.
2.4 million views on YouTube.
Well, we needed that. I didn't know how bad I needed that.
I'll take her mix with Perfect Drug over that one.
I bet it exists. I bet every song.
I typed in I typed in Tool, but it's on YouTube.
I like that.
And then I got this one too.
Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I don't need to hang my stocking there upon the fireplace. Santa Claus will make me happy with a toy on Christmas Day. I won't ask for much this Christmas. I won't even wish for snow. I'm just gonna keep on waiting underneath the mistletoe. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you.
Oh, that is good.
I like
that.
that.
That is great.
That's a good one. You know what? I might start putting that in rotation for Christmas time.
Yeah, his name's Aaron Gage on YouTube. And he should be saying this about himself.
You guys ought to do a story about me sometime. Why should we do a story about you? Because I'm so fucking good.
Have him on.
I ain't no shit neither.
That riff, if that's what you call it, is kind of delicious, though.
Oh, it's very memorable. I'd
Yeah.
say in terms like rock music, that's got to be one of the most well-known riffs.
Like, I want a headbang in my car, sitting outside. Yeah. And I want to like give like an Aussie look while I do it.
Here's a Facebook post. So it's coming from metaladdicts.com. Tool may...
Why can't we just be sober?
Why can't we be friends? Tool may face potential class action lawsuit over disappointing Tool Live in the Sand set list. So this coming from, it's a Facebook post, and I don't know like how valid this is, but it was a sponsored post. So it's like someone actually paid money for it to show up in people's feeds.
Yeah, the person that first took out the lawsuit is like, I need more people.
It's a lawyer.
Well, that's what it's from. It's from the law office of Stas Rusek.
Someone's just looking to get makeup.
Someone's a Tool fan and a lawyer. Yep.
Attention Tool in the Sand Festival attendees. # Tool in the Sand lawsuit. Did you pay $4,000 to $10,000 plus for the Tool in the Sand Punta Cana Festival with promises of 2 unique Tool performances? Promises broken, and there's like a whole like checklist here. You were promised 2 unique Tool sets.
Who promised them?
Craftsman.
No, craft services.
No? Okay. You paid premium prices, $4,000 plus, based on these promises. The second show repeated approximately 60% of the first night's set list. The second performance ended early. I thought I had those mesothelioma, the mesothelioma commercial. I thought I had those drops in the board. Apparently I don't. Because this is like, the next line in all caps, you may be entitled to compensation. This is like drinking the water at that, what was it, like Fort Bragg, Fort Knox.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
They're just coming home and realize they just spent $12,000 they didn't have. And they need to sort through this.
One full credit card. Our firm is investigating a potential class action lawsuit against the organizers of the Tool in the Sand Festival for potential breach of contract and misrepresentation. Who qualifies? Attended the Tool in the Sand Festival, purchased tickets or packages based on promises of 2 unique performances, experienced a substantially repeated set list on the second night. All right, so no being abandoned on a desert island, no being forced to subsist on cheese sandwiches in a styrofoam container, no having to fight for flooded tents.
Peeing in a ditch?
Sure. Yeah. No passing out from exhaustion in an airport built from bamboo and palm tree leaves. No being conned by Billy McFarland, which sounds like that's about to happen again. Yeah, no, you just got inconvenienced because Tool didn't play 10 unique songs. They played 6.
Did you have to go to both shows? Was it a 2-day ticket only?
No,
I mean, I don't know if you had to, but I think you're going down there. You're doing both of them.
I would think so too.
It's not like us going to Nashville a couple of weeks ago, go down for the day.
Right, but how many people would have said, nope, I'm only going to night 1?
Night 2 is where it's at. Oh boy, did I make a mistake.
So how would you feel, Jack, right, if you're going to when we were young?
Yeah.
And night 2 is announced, and you know it, well, I don't know that anyone's made a statement, but let's just say, because it's the same bands.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Let's just say they said that. Nope, it's the same show both nights. And then you find out it's not.
So it's the same show both nights, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Could you sue because you didn't go?
I could sue if I was a Panic at the Disco super fan, because on the bill it says Panic at the Disco playing A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. All right. Now you go to both nights, October 18th and 19th in Las Vegas. And the first night they play A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, and then like the second night they play like Vice Verses or whatever. Their like their 4th album. It's like, yeah, that wasn't on the bill. That's technically false advertising.
But they do that anyways. Didn't they have to shift half the albums last year for that show? I feel like you'll know that there could be a change up of what they're playing.
Yeah, the When We Were Young festival, Mike, last year, the festival, the bill was that every band that was playing was going to play an album of theirs front to back.
Okay.
Which I guess like works to their benefit because it's a 1-day festival, but they cram so many bands into it that like each band has like 20 minutes to perform. So I think
an EP, huh?
Well, I think almost every band was successful in doing that, but some bands complained that like they signed on to play not knowing that now they were contractually obligated to play an album of theirs. And some bands, I think Fall Out Boy, for example, didn't actually do that. They just did like a greatest hits set.
That's because we're coming out with our greatest hits album, and that's an album.
Technically, I think Greatest Hits Volume 2 was, I know that's fairly recent. It does make sense.
Yeah.
Was it All American Rejects? I think they dropped out because they like, for that exact reason, they felt they were swindled into.
How many albums do they have? Just play your album. Shut
that
up.
dude's a fucking diva.
Yeah.
Tyson Ritter, he's
He
a
is.
diva.
I liked him though.
They put on a great show. I had fun seeing them, but I just know he's a diva.
I'm a diva too.
Okay. This post continues.
In all
caps. No fees unless we win. I'm just reading all this like in my head. It's
And at that point, you get nothing.
in my head.
I win.
This reference will make sense to nobody outside of the Boston area, but I just like in my head it's James Sokolov saying all of this.
He's not worldwide.
I don't think he is. No, I think he's Massachusetts only. There was one guy, there's this actor, and I'm blanking on his name, but he was like the go-to actor for all the law firms. He was like the default law firm, because up here it was the law offices of Mark E. Solomon. But then I remember seeing him do this same commercial, but for a different law firm. So he went in for like 1 day of filming, and they told him, okay, we're going to run through 12 law firms, Massachusetts, California.
Didn't have a
Kentucky.
non-compete disclosure. They all sued him.
I saw him on Law and Order. That's how I knew he was a famous, or like a somewhat famous actor. He was on Law and Order. Anyway, no fees unless we win. Contact us for a free consultation. Email hello@rusekfirm.com. Use hashtag Tool in the Sand lawsuit. Attorney Stas F. Rusek, not only a huge Tool fan, take out the word fan.
I see what you did there.
But also a festival attendee who feels your pain and seeks justice for all of those potentially ripped off by a classic bait and switch. This advertisement for a potential class action lawsuit. No attorney-client relationship is formed unless a representation agreement is signed. See how good I am at talking fast?
What's the catch? Why was it?
What's the catch? You give them your bank account info.
We promise not to take anything out.
Now there was a Redditor on our Tool band who I think had a rational point of view to this, and I'm going to read it here.
Ooh, how rare!
It was so the thread is titled, "I finally looked at the set lists, and I've got to say they were pretty unique. Only 4 songs got repeated, and honestly, those 4 bangers. I think this whole situation has been blown out of proportion. Thank you." And this user said in response, "You have to understand the situation where the people in attendance are just about the most diehard followers of this band. They've seen them, a dozen times at least? They shell out the dough on their own accord, yes, but there was the expectation to see a once-in-a-lifetime showing from the band they followed for 20 or 30 years, and not just because the stage was set up on the beach. I love the guys in the band and what they've created, and I can see all sides or frustrations to this whole thing, yet I think in my ultimate ruling, to be pretty bewildered that the guys wouldn't move off the same set list they've been playing since Fear Inoculum released." Which, okay, that's where you got to be like a really intricate fan of the band to be able to look at the set list and say, this is the same set list you guys were playing 5 years ago.
But I do think we get a little soft on these musicians. And there's more of argument. I feel like we always take the sides of the musicians in these cases. If like, Mike, you went to, I don't know, you like Hamilton. If you just sat down at your Hamilton show and a different play started, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Even if you're like, all right.
Is this Spring Awakening? Are you kidding?
Even if you're like, I don't
do
mind
not want to
this.
see cat anuses. Why this is Andrew Weber?
Like, even if you're like sick, I love the Phantom of the Opera. Like, I came here for something else. And I think people would.
I wanted to hear rapping
them.
about the founding fathers. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think people would defend them, but we treat our musicians with kid gloves here. And I'm like, I don't know. If you're mad, get your money back. Do it. I wouldn't, because I eat my slop, but
I do eat my slop. I'm just happy to be here.
You couldn't get me to a beach, though, for any musician. I'm sorry.
Becky's not a fan of sand.
I just don't want sand near me. Well, and like hot sand and hot dogs.
Hot sand, cool music.
Maybe Taylor. Love you, girl.
This Reddit
that caveat.
Yeah.
Or brand new.
Yeah. I just don't want to be on a beach.
This Reddit post goes on to say, "I just struggle to see a thought process. You've asked these people to take a trip to watch you perform." I'm assuming they're talking to the band directly. Hypothetically. "You've asked these people to take a trip to watch you perform under the impression it'll be unlike anything before, yet you can't throw in Jimmy or H or DRT or Push It. They played like it was just any other show or a gig in Omaha, Nebraska. No disrespect to Omaha."
Oh, disrespect to Omaha. It's Nebraska. They deserve it.
They wrap up with, "I'm thankful for any time I'll be able to see the guys play live because it won't last forever.
Lies.
Yet for Tool in the Sand, I won't judge any fan that was left bothered by it all. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen." I love the ending. That's what you say on sports radio. The guys who call in the sports radio, they give their comment and then they go, "I'll hang up and listen." Well, I maintain. I'd be happy to be there, happy I saw it, happy with what I got. And if anyone's this upset and this inconvenienced by this, like, rethink your priorities, man. Like, there's got to be worse.
I'm like, you also, if you really want something from it because you do feel slighted, sometimes you just have to go to social media. There is no real way to deal with this other than get people on your side. You have to make the good argument. I don't know they're doing that because there's a lot of people who want to go to these shows and probably can't. And it's not a great look. But I don't know how you deal with it. But it's, I don't know. I'd like to see who and was this just speculation that they were 2 unique nights, or it was truly?
I think it was. Let me check, see if I can pull up the original post about this from Consequence. I think the poster might have even said. Now, if the poster said as much,
the poster said it, then it's real.
That poster's a contract right there.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like proof that you're going against it. Okay. Tool. Okay. It just says Tool, 2 sets.
Okay. That's 2 sets. Did they even know?
Tool. Okay. So this consequence post from October 24th of last year says Tool will play 2 unique sets throughout the weekend. Meanwhile,
they were 2 unique sets.
Shit, yeah, they were. Yeah. I mean, someone
it wasn't the same set.
Someone pointed out too, I guess to the devil's advocate, defense of the band, whatever, is that the songs that were played from night one, different order.
But that's interpretation. They didn't say we are playing a totally unique, no repeated song set.
No repeat workday, right? They didn't do that one.
Yeah, I wonder if these.
I would take 2 unique sets as slightly different.
I don't know. I wonder if these people would be just as mad if.
I bet no one was actually at the show that's mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's his day.
It was the guy sitting at home.
Yeah,
looking for something to do.
Yeah, watching someone's live stream of it on Instagram.
Yeah, or just wanting engagement.
Yeah, I maintain. I laugh at these people. My Threads post, I hardly focused on Threads. So these are the responses I got. I noticed that the guy who told me to kill myself, his post is no longer there.
That's good.
My post yesterday, it got almost 20,000 views, by the way. I wish I had 20,000 followers. Threads.
You wouldn't know what to do with them.
I wouldn't. No, I'd piss off every single one of them. I'd jeopardize it. The post was Tool fans getting this upset gave me the laugh I desperately needed today. He's what I got. So here's some of the ones that were on my side. One guy saying, but Fibonacci in scientific placement and shit. Another saying, Tool's the only band I know of that's named after their fan base. Another.
It's an easy swing right there.
Another. Tool superfans are middle-aged guys who slid through high school with a C- average, but they feel they are neurosurgeons with a huge IQ. Goes back.
I can see that.
Goes back to the dude I was talking about that I went to high school with, who, by the way, I don't think graduated. Let's see.
The losers.
Baby Farts McGee Snacks.
Awesome name.
Sacks, sorry. Says, boo this take. And then it just went downhill from there. A band called Obscure Animals, an alt-rock Midwest emo post-hardcore band out of Austin, Texas.
That sounds fun.
They commented on my post. They weren't happy with me. They said, it's funny to laugh at music fans who were duped out of thousands of dollars. I mean, Firefest is one thing. This wasn't some event propped up by a fake social media company for dumb rich kids. This is a band with decade-long fans who felt they were bait and switched. I guess I just don't see what's so funny. You know how I know this dude listens to this podcast? Because he explicitly mentioned Firefest. And the logic behind that. Keep listening.
That was me. I'm that account.
You're Obscure Animals?
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations on your success and your 200 followers on Threads.
Thanks, babe.
His dude listens. Keep listening. Keep listening. You get the reference. All right. That is
Tool. Festering in anger.
You're stirring the pot, though. I mean,
I am stirring
you're
the
stirring
pot.
the pot.
Oh,
you're being a silly.
Sure. This whole thing stemmed from me openly laughing at them on social media and actually getting like not only in the algorithm, but getting responses and a nice like balance between people who agree with me, I guess, and in people who just don't like me because of my take.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I
don't like you.
You would have no problem getting all in a huff if you were promised 2 unique shirts at some t-shirt company and you didn't get it. It would, I don't know, when it's a faceless company, you would be all upset, but you always will defend the band over the fan.
Well, T-Turtle, and I don't know if they're still around, but they did that to me. I ordered a shirt from them many years ago and they sent me the wrong one. And it actually was a cool shirt. And I emailed them and I told them, like, guys, you didn't even like send me, like, you didn't send me the right slop. You didn't send me the right shirt. The packing material says it's the right shirt. And the worst part is I like the shirt better than the one I ordered. Like, I'm not even mad. This is amazing. And they responded by sending me the shirt that I initially ordered. So A+ customer service to them. But I like, guys, task failed successfully.
You just needed that.
Best way to do it.
It takes a lot for me to complain, though, Becky. You know that. Like, it takes a lot before I finally say. Like,
oh yeah, we don't. And in fact, I hate that about us. We got the worst coffee the other day, and I was in the coffee shop. It was horrible. Something happened. Like I'm like somebody messed up and swapped like the sewer for this coffee.
And that's my opinion on all coffee. So.
Oh, you would have hated this, Mike.
This was weird. This was unusual. We were so excited. Went to Mary Lou's, and there was 4 ice cubes in it. I had a sip of it, and I stood there, and I had a moment where I could say, hey, could you just make this over? Something's not right. And I didn't. I just smiled, and I walked out and went, sorry, babe. We'll go to a different Mary Lou's.
We ultimately did. And here's the other thing, too. I don't know if you mentioned this, but it was like an hour or less before they closed, and we probably just got the end of the day brew.
But it didn't even look right. I've worked at a coffee shop. I would never have given that to someone. I saw it and I was like, she didn't put any ice in it.
Yeah.
Something was up. But I'm a nice girl, and I said, thank you, ma'am.
You know, she should have taken a page from me. And you know what you do in that case? You smile and say, it's my first day. What am I going to do? Go and verify your employment history? No, I'm not.
She knew I wouldn't say anything. She smiled.
It's my first day.
She loved giving me that coffee.
It's my first day.
I was so sad about that. We don't get Mary Lou's that often, so this was a treat.
Yeah, and now that we're not on the South Shore of Massachusetts.
They're sitting in our fridge right now because I was like, I can make this better. We brought it home. It was a 4-hour ride back.
Becky, I think we're at the point now where that coffee is not going to be as
no,
good
it's
as
not.
it
But
once
I
was.
had a principle. I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, I wasn't going to complain about this, but if people are complaining, Jack, maybe we should uplift them. Maybe we should stick up for ourselves more.
So here you go, Mike. Now I know you work in the business of insurance. So here's what I'm dealing with right now. My car windshield.
Okay.
It cracked during the ice storm a few weeks ago.
Unless you have absolutely shitty insurance, which you shouldn't. In Massachusetts, windshield replacements are free.
So it's free. And I'm not paying a cent for this. However, the first windshield they gave me, defective. Because the road is
an aftermarket windshield, probably.
Yeah,
The
road
was a
is
fun house mirror.
Yeah, and the replacement of the replacement,
worse,
a funhouse mirror. So now I gotta like start making phone calls, and I gotta start talking to people and saying like, what can we do to get me a?
Do you go through SafeLight?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's basically what all insurance companies do.
Right. Like I don't know if I could just go to my dealer and have them put in, what I would assume then is a genuine.
Don't do it before you get authorization.
You're right. That's the thing. That's where I'm stuck is because like
it's unsafe. Like I was driving it and you misjudge how far things are because it's warped.
This guy's turning left or squiggle, I think. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, because chances are they don't actually run it through an actual adjuster. It's glass only. They just run it through like a glass only person. That's
So what do we do? We call our insurance
competent.
before we.
Yeah, call the insurance like, hey, I've had 2 glass replacements and they both are fucking awful. I don't know if you can look up and see what kind of glass they were. I could probably offline check you SafeLight complaint number 2.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I'm not working right now. Okay.
We know a guy.
The only time I like working off the clock is when you show me an accident and I can tell you who's wrong.
Awesome.
Hey, I'll do that. And so will Nick.
No, Nick likes the gore pictures.
He will. Oh my God. What's that? That's a limb. That's a severed limb, buddy.
Man, that tire went far. That's his head, son.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right. Mike, is it okay if we take a break before we come back and talk about the InfoWars thing?
That's perfectly fine because apparently somebody's been asking for me to kill an insect somewhere in the house.
Don't do it. Let him go.
Look, the only ones I let go are the house
in a cup.
centipedes, okay?
Put in a little cup.
Only ones I let go are the house centipedes.
Mike, you can share with me in private the outcome of this situation.
I'll share it publicly. I'm going to squish the fuck out of that thing.
No.
Yep.
No.
Now here's the thing, Mike. Here's the thing you got to understand is in my selection of women, you see, I've
animal lovers.
I've struck gold with the two that prefer to save the insects.
Yeah. We go out of our way.
Yeah, we save the insects.
We put bees in cups.
Bees are bees are good.
Well, not bees, like wasps.
Oh no,
They go in
fuck
cups.
wasps are assholes.
Yeah, but they
Fuck
go in,
them. They die a horrible death.
No one dies. We're nice.
Oh yes. Yep. Mud daubers are different.
We're nice girls.
But wasps, hornets, fuck them.
I'm triggered.
What if it was a cazador, Rebecca?
Oh my God. Don't you bring that. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Becky's like, cazador. Cazador. What's a cazador?
It's adorable, right? It's a cazadorable.
Yeah. Until you realize that you can't recover when they sting you, or if they sting your companions, there's no coming back from it. Fallout, Rebecca.
Oh.
Mutant bees from Fallout. Okay. We'll be right back.
Hardly focused.
Let me start off.
This podcast is hardly focused.
We're a bunch of sorry sons of bitches.
Jane.
Sorry.
Hear more at hardlyfocused.com.
You crazy son of a bitch.
We are all sons of bitches.
Mike, something that I'm a little upset about, or maybe a lot upset about, is InfoWars. Alex Jones's InfoWars. If you remember, late last year, they were, I guess, up for sale. It's all part of these
Settlement that happened with the Sandy Hook families.
Oh, man. Well, I have to disagree with that.
And the company that owns The Onion had announced that they had purchased InfoWars and all of its assets and everything. And then not even 2 weeks later, the sale was nullified.
Yeah, which pissed me off.
Oh man, I'm bitter about that. That it's because the owner too of the Onion, of the company that owns The Onion, was just straight up like, it would be so funny if we bought InfoWars. And it would have been. And I think that's got to be right up there with Conan O'Brien losing the Tonight Show as like biggest disappointments, biggest gut punches.
It's insane.
It really is. We bring up InfoWars, and boy, is this going to be one that we tread lightly with.
Really? I was going to go in with the sledgehammer, but I'll go for it.
You can, if you want to. If you want to, go right ahead.
Okay. So what's going on with this one here?
InfoWars. Now, I will say it's fascinating that InfoWars is so, I guess, like, I don't want to say obscure, but you don't hear about InfoWars anymore after the Sandy Hook trial, then the Onion trying to buy
I'm pretty sure
them.
they scrubbed off of most of the main media options there.
The mainstream media.
Yep. Just they're turning the frogs gay.
Where is it?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
They're in the news because a reporter for InfoWars, Jamie White, was shot and killed this past Sunday, March 9th, in the parking lot of his apartment complex. Detectives this happened in Texas. They believe that Jamie White here, he noticed his car was being broken into. He attempted to intervene in the attempted burglary, and his assailants then turned a gun on him and took him down. And then they fled, and the suspects haven't been identified. The police also have not released a description.
Of course not.
Get into that in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, InfoWars, they've lost a reporter. And I know nothing about InfoWars other than Alex Jones is the host of it. And again, the whole onion thing. I couldn't tell you anything else about it. I think actually Anthony Cumia. I think he actually like guest hosted InfoWars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Once, which,
that says something.
So Anthony Cumia has a new show. He's back on FM radio or AM radio. He's back on terrestrial radio. He's doing Sunday nights on WABC in New York City. And I happen to have been in the car. So I put it on through my phone and I made it about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about how the mainstream media, the big three networks, the left-wing media, trying to bury Donald Trump over the last 4 years. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not listening to this, dude. Come on. Like, I've said it before, I'll say it again. As a broadcaster, as a comedian, Anthony remains one of my favorites. He's the reason like why I got into doing this.
As a person.
Yeah, I do not, in 2025, I do not agree with, nor do I endorse his beliefs and in what the side that he's on. I just, we are two different people in that regard, but the funny, the comedic aspect of it, because I went back and I listened to the first like 30 minutes of the podcast of his show from the other night, his debut show. Remember, he's been doing a podcast for about 10 years now, but his first terrestrial show, and it was like, he was just talking about radio and he was doing all of his old shtick. I'm like, all right, this I can get into. Do this. But no, you're on a conservative talk radio station and it fits your beliefs. So you're going to go that way. And that is when I will respectfully tune out. Thanks. I will hang up. I will not listen. But Godspeed to you.
First time caller, not long time listener.
Ramon, turn this crap off. So on InfoWars, Alex Jones spoke of his reporter being shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
He then went on to do this. He went on to blame without explanation the following individuals for Jamie White's death. Alex Jones blames Jose Garcia, a Travis County, Texas district attorney backed by billionaire investor and philanthropist George Soros. Jones also blames former President Joe Biden, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, and Texas Representative Al Green, who I believe was censured recently because I'm assuming you didn't watch Trump speaking.
No. I was going to get the Cliff Notes and call it a day.
I didn't watch it either, but I guess Al Green was doing the Democratic version of what Marjorie Taylor Greene does. And was, I don't know if he was kicked out. I know he was censured, but Democrats praising him for his actions. So, of course, he makes Alex Jones's list here.
You're on the list.
So now, no surprise, I guess, that the same man who gave us this.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Would just then go and baselessly claim that 5 individuals would be responsible for the death of his reporter.
Directly responsible is what he's saying, huh?
Yeah. As it goes.
Okay.
As it goes.
Okay.
So the police, going back to the detectives, police not identifying the suspects, not releasing any description of them. This is where I'm going to get Alex Jones here. I'm going to do my own Alex Jones impersonation. I think they don't want to. I think they are withholding this information intentionally. Because they maybe they want to let these folks get away with murder.
Oh, really?
Maybe they want to let them, if they could, maybe they'd want to praise them, give them an award. But in all actuality, maybe that's my conspiracy. That's me putting my tinfoil hat on and saying, maybe these cops are celebrating it and are going to withhold this information. But that is a stretch. I'm sure
I think you're just thinking too logically right now.
thinking too logically. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there was a murder at all. I think it's a false flag. He's a paid actor.
Okay. So I read this news. And quite honestly, that was like the first thing that came to mind. But then I see the comments. I see the discourse on threads at Hardly Focused. I see on Reddit that the responses are all the same because it's low-hanging fruit. It's just it's an easy one. Many are claiming that White's death is a false flag operation. They're calling White himself and his family members.
Oh, that's how you do it. The entire family is just a bunch of paid actors.
Paid crisis actors. Because if you remember, that's what Sandy Hook was. That's what Parkland was in Florida.
Exactly.
And this is why Alex Jones got sued. This is why he owes billions of dollars.
Schadenfreude.
How
a little bit of Schadenfreude.
How the turntables, as Michael Scott once said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no sympathy. I think if you sign your life away to work for InfoWars,
yeah.
Like if you sink so low that you get a job, like I don't know if it's, hey, I really want to work in journalism and broadcast media, and the best I can get is InfoWars. Then
if it was before, I got sued like that, I could say, okay, maybe you're like, hey, trying to work from the inside, trying to at least build something up. But like this is after he got sued. You know what you're signing up for.
Sure. Like there are some journalists I have followed who have gone to work for Newsmax or Fox News or OAN, if that's still a thing. That like they weren't in that. I don't want to say in that field, but they weren't working for those types of outlets, and now they are. So that tells me either this is what they truly believe in, or
in actual for a paycheck.
Yeah, they need a paycheck, or in actuality, they're so bad at their jobs that the best they can get is one of these outlets. So I don't know what I know nothing about Jamie White, and I'm not going to learn anything about Jamie White. I don't know if
require effort.
Like if he really, really believed in this and really like wanted to support this organization, wants to support Alex Jones, then like at that point you just have to know that sure, you're going to have people that the maniacs that pay for this and buy the supplements that they peddle. It's a very small percentage of people. Sure, you're going to have their support. You're going to be backed by them. But anyone else, you
not
lose
a chance.
Yeah. You lose credibility at that point. Any credibility you have, and most people aren't going to give you sympathy. You can see it right now. Everyone's calling you a crisis actor. They're making fun of your death.
Even if it was like OAN or Newsmax, I don't think they would have immediately jumped on this is a crisis actor. I honestly think it is exclusively because it's Alex Jones.
Absolutely. 100%. If
now the other things I mentioned are fucking trash rags that shouldn't exist. But even then, I don't think people would have immediately jumped that hard.
Right. It's like, I guess like working for like a tabloid too. Just something that just has a really bad reputation, but continues to exist somehow.
Weekly World News.
Sure. What was the one? Was it that, or what was the one that was Murdoch's company that leaked all the voicemails from?
Oh, is that the Sun? I believe, right? Yeah,
it might have been, or like the Daily Mail or something like that. I'm just listening like different.
That was the British one, right? Yeah,
it was. Yeah, or like the Post, New York Post. Like I've done, I do when I do show prep here for Hardly Focused, I do glance over the New York Post, but I will like admit I'm selective in what I pick from the New York Post, and I always like to have multiple sources that I can fall back on. I don't want to just say it's from the Post. I want to be able to say like, okay, well, like the Post is talking about it, but it's because they're getting it from TMZ or they're getting it from somewhere. Like I want to just make sure like there's dots that we can connect here. But for anyone else, I would say like, okay, that's like if you're looking at their resume, overlook that part, or it's a black mark, or if it's the last thing they do before they pass away, then like, oh, unfortunately their career ended on that note. But yeah, Mike, to your point, if it's because it's InfoWars, just if you have any association with them and you're a public figure, just expect that most people are going to point and laugh.
Oh yeah.
If you come,
sympathy goes out the window, you know, with that guy. Anybody associated with him, you're not getting it. You're not getting a goddamn thing.
If you come out at any point and I guess like you leave the organization and I guess like repent if you're like, okay, I made a mistake. I never believed in this. Like if you can at least come out and admit that, then okay, then this sympathy comes back. The credibility might not come back, but at least I'm like, all right, at least you recognize you screwed up.
Yeah. I
truly think, I mean, if you're working there and you're working for Jones, you have screwed up. There's a reason why you're there.
You done goofed.
But it didn't surprise me in the least to see how the internet reacted to it. And I got, on our news on Reddit, the post is locked. Like you can't leave any comments.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not kidding when I say all the comments on here are literally just people quoting Alex Jones or referencing Alex Jones, things that he's brought up in the past for similar scenarios, basically throwing it back in his face. As one user saying, Jamie White's murder was a hoax by the deep state. He, his family, and other people involved are just crisis actors. Let's make a bunch of podcasts making millions off arguing this and just insist Alex Jones is crazy. Give him a taste of his own.
Yep. Absolutely. Prove to me otherwise. How about that? With that, Mr. Jones?
And me tell each other fairy tales. I gotta say quick, I was watching a video of Counting Crows playing a concert a while back because they just announced, I guess they have a new album coming out. They announced a tour of the Gaslight Anthem. Like I might spend money on that. Adam Duritz, the frontman for Counting Crows, he cut his dreadlocks. He's got like normal hair now.
Wow. What happened?
Maybe he realized like, hey, I'm in my 60s. You shouldn't have the dreadlocks anymore. But like, I'm looking at him like, who is that guy? Oh,
you changed.
Yeah, it just doesn't like. I'm trying to think of like, maybe it's like Kiss taking off the makeup.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, it's like, dude, wear a wig. They're part of your thing. They're part of your image. It's
yes,
like
I hear you calling.
So like Hart is performing and Ann Wilson is recovering. I think she had cancer and she's recovered from that, but then she had she fell recently, so her arm's in a sling. Hart on tour right now, Ann Wilson performing in a wheelchair, basically like at this point crippled.
Dave Grohling it.
It's just even like a cool like throne. It's like quite literally just your run of the mill wheelchair. But her like she's not even wearing a wig. She's just got short gray hair, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, in this case, like embrace it,
fucking own it.
But for Adam Duritz, like, no, man, the dreads. Because you're not sick, you're not injured, you're not in a wheelchair. The dreads are part of your thing. Just wear a wig, get the locks back. Just do that.
Help me help you. Help me feel better about you.
Back to InfoWars. Another comment here says it's his fault he got shot.
What was he wearing?
If he didn't
asking for it,
if he didn't want to get shot, he shouldn't have been dressed like that. His body had a way of shutting down that bullet. Totally the victim's fault. The response to that is, no one got shot. There is no body. It's just a crisis actor playing dead. All these comments at this point, like once you go down from like the first few that are more like they're logical, but they're still obviously digging on Jones and InfoWars as an entity. And once you start scrolling down, and then they all become just repeats of the same thing, but they're all saying the same exact thing. How bad have you screwed up in life that this is the general response?
I don't know. Ask Luigi.
Luigi, I maintain he's a fine looking man. No homo, but my word, like even seeing him in court, my God, did you see he's responding to letters?
Oh, I didn't know that.
The fan mail that he's getting.
I mean, of course he's getting fan mail. Oh my God, yeah.
Like this nursing student wrote to him, and he wrote a very polite letter back, and she posted it online, and the dude is flexing his celebrity status.
He's got to right now.
Sometimes I see comparison photos of the police escort that Luigi Mangione was getting going into court for the first time, where he is just flanked by, I'm going to say, about 24, police officers, SWAT members, just all people in uniform with weapons, right?
Yep.
And then Brian Koberger, who murdered those college students in Idaho a few years ago.
I know where you're going with this, but keep going.
One sheriff's deputy escorting him. One. So you murder a bunch of young people in cold blood, and you are afforded the bare minimum of protection, whereas you murder the CEO of a health insurance company, and you get basically your own Secret Service detail.
100%. 100%.
Yep.
You're like, who are you protecting him from? Really?
Right?
Seems a little extra there, guys.
Yeah, he's being protected by from women. Women fawn to him like they fawn to the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Mm-hmm. Guys fawned on him. Let's be honest.
I'm fawning on him.
Exactly.
I fawned on him. Remember the first picture when they announced that they caught the suspect and then the information was leaking out. And that first picture came out, it was him on his hiking trip shirtless. And I shared it with you guys in a group chat. And I'm like, my God, that is a hunk. That is a honk. Not even a hunk, but a honk. Okay, so we're on the topic.
Get sidetracked.
Well, we're on the topic of, I wouldn't say Luigi's an idiot. I mean, maybe a poor decision in what he did, but then if you want to get into the semantics of whether or not he was right or wrong for doing it is for a different episode.
Allegedly.
That could be anyone's ass.
Yep.
But how familiar are you with Sam Bankman-Fried?
I know the name, and I remind me, was he a crypto guy?
Yes, FTX.
Okay. All right. I was like, it's one of the two.
So I fell down a rabbit hole reading about him and FTX because I remember when the news broke about that, and he basically went from superstar,
awesome, yeah,
it just to nothing, and just reading about what happened. In the moment, I never paid attention to the fine details when it happened, but then I read into it, and now I understand the mismanagement and whatnot, and the hilarity that the CEO of FTX after Fried left was the same guy who wrapped things up with Enron.
Oh, wow.
He didn't go to jail for it. He was the guy they called in because the damage had been done, and this guy's whole job is to
he's the
clean
fix.
up the
He's
mess.
calling Mr. Wolf, like from Pulp Fiction, right?
Yeah, he's a fixer. John J. Ray III. But so Bankman-Fried, on the topic of doing interviews with less than reputable organizations, here's another one that you'd never hear about ever since he left his platform.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker Carlson.
Oh, was he on Newsmax now or something like that? Or he's on his own podcast?
No, he's on Twitter.
What?
I think
Of course he is now.
He does everything on Twitter. I don't think he's part of any other outlet right now. I think he just does a live stream, and he does it there.
Wow. Okay.
And he interviewed Sam Bankman-Fried, who's in prison. I think that dude's serving 25 years or something. And
security exchange violations.
And of course, like Bankman-Fried's like he's maintaining his innocence for what happened. He even low-key appeals to our current president during the interview to see if he can get a pardon so he can get out.
A fucking loser.
Well, turns out that this interview was not cleared with the Bureau of Prisons.
Oh.
And it was done on one of those smuggled cell phones.
Oh.
And Sam Bankman-Fried has since been thrown into solitary confinement. Into the hole, they say.
I'm assuming there's nothing they could have done with Carlson.
No. That totally is. Totally
nice. I'm sorry, you're an accessory. You've got to put you in jail. Dang it.
Yeah. Sometimes, again, another broadcaster that I really highly respect is Adam Carolla, because he was, if you look back at podcasting, if you look back at like where podcasting
pioneer
is today, he's a pioneer. I mean, he was tapped to replace Howard Stern on the West Coast. He actually was like arguably the most successful at it. He was there for the entire tenure that experiment lasted, all 3 years of it. And when his radio show was canceled, he immediately took it to the internet. And it immediately became like the number one most downloaded podcast on iTunes. And he has stuck around ever since. And he's still up there. Like if you look at like the top podcasts, now that Haley Welch has left and her podcast is no more. Speaking of crypto failures, after like Rogan, down that list, Carolla is still up there. But Carolla now does have people on his show, and it's just his beliefs and everything. And I don't know if it's just open forum and he's, just in the center and has no bias against who he has on the show versus who he declines. But just out of curiosity, I listened to when he had Tucker Carlson on. This is in 2023. I'm surprised I made it as long as I did. I think I made it about 15 minutes in.
Wow.
And I tapped out when Tucker Carlson claimed that Barack Obama isn't actually black.
And yet they have the one drop rule. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. And not even like hanging back on the half black thing, like just straight up saying like, no, Barack. I think Tucker Carlson's exact words were Barack Obama is white. Like, bro,
got a really bad case of vitiligo then.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, revitiligo.
Thanks, Obama.
It was Uncle Ruckus. So that was I was trying to be like non-objective going into it. I want to listen like, okay, I'm gonna do this out of curiosity. I'm curious as a
morbid curiosity.
And I'm like, I can't do it. I tried my best. I'm David Spade during the musical number during SNL 50. I got the gist of it. I'll be over here in the audience if you need me. So there you go. Jamie White, InfoWars, gunned down to little to no sympathy.
What are you talking about? Why are you saying that? He was not gunned down. He's a paid crisis actor.
Oh, sure. Correct. Yeah. This never happened.
You're right.
No, this is all farce. It's a fib. It's a phony. Yeah. It's just this whole thing. There's no evidence that this happened.
No, exactly. It's all fabricated anyway.
I mean, the police aren't even releasing the identities of who did it. So,
because you know why? Because no one got murdered. You can't release the identity as a murderer when there's no murder.
Sure.
There you go.
So who's to say it happened?
I will eat your ass.
Okay. We can end it on that note. Mike, thank you.
You're welcome.
My thanks to Rebecca as well for being here earlier in the episode. And for the rest of you, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Stay safe. And we'll talk at you next time.
I see you. Bye. Goodbye.
mentioned may not have happened.
This has been a presentation of the Solid Listen Podcast Network.